You're listening to the Go Lightly Martial Hour on freedomtalkradio.net. freedomtalkradio.net.
Good morning, world. All right, we're on the air.
Or maybe the 100 that is actually listening.
102. 102. Now, all right, so today is November the 6th, 2014. And this is the home of the Christ, Brian Let It Go Lightly Marshall, who was announced. The Christ indeed has returned, Salvator Mundi. He is the Word of God, reincarnate, Brian Leonard Golightly Marshall, the most royal man on the planet, the image of the Shroud of Turin. Yes?
The question is, does anybody out there think they know more than Pope Benedict about what it's all about? Here's the leading scholar in Europe on biblical matters, and his job was to hand over, as was the Queen, by George VI, who told her as a child, when Christ comes,
when he makes his presence known to you,
hand it over.
That's right. Immediately hand it over. That was the instruction to Elizabeth as a child.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Benedict, being pure in heart and humble of spirit, he saw God, which is what he said is Jesus. The pure in heart will see God. How? Well, it's called the Shroud of Turin. That's my image. The blatantly obvious for the pure in heart. So it just goes to show it's a really good test. For the pure in heart do not see God. It is so blatantly obvious that it makes you wonder at the stupidity of Christianity that has largely rejected until Pope Benedict.
Well, they're all Jews.
Yes. Now.
So they're relying on, the stupidity of it is, they've been bullshitted by the Talmud. The Jews have been the problem all the way through. They've been sacrificing children for hundreds of years.
Millennia.
That's what they do.
Oh, this is, well, yes.
And now, even the FBI in Los Angeles, the chief of the FBI, said it is a fact. And he traced it all out, even to the various companies that abducted children.
Yes.
They got paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right?
Human trafficking.
He even found the cages in a warehouse where the children were, and they just vacated just before he and his team got there. Right? And they were all Jews. Now, Christianity is a Jewish cult. They don't know it. So they're waiting for the Jewish Messiah to show up, which did show up according to Rabbi Yitzhak Kaduri. And even Ariel Sharon, possibly one of the most cruelest, ugliest bastards on the earth, even he repented and was going to pull back all the installations
The
of
settlements. Illegal settlements, he was pulling them back.
He was pulling them all back.
And that's why he...
that's why they got him. Now, Yitzhak Kaduri said that the Christ would not be recognised until Yeshua, Jesus in Hebrew, would not be recognised until the death of Ariel Sharon. Now, you and I and Peter and his wife are sitting out the back
on your birthday, your 70th birthday.
I said, Ariel Sharon's going to die today. And what happened?
He died.
He died.
2 p.m. in the afternoon. It was 10 o'clock on the night of your birthday, 70th birthday, January 11th, 2014.
Now, what else on the 70th birthday occurred?
Pope Benedict was 86.74 years old. 8,674 are the number of words listed in the Hebrew Old Testament of the James Strong's Concordance
So
of
he
the
was
1611 Bible.
31680 days old.
Days old, yes. 31680 is Lord Jesus Christ in Greek Gematria.
Now, from the date that we started talking to the Pope to the date of Bosco, the saint of
Bicentenary
200 years
birthday celebration.
bicentennial, one of the greatest priests and saints that ever lived. All this wonderful work he did throughout Turin and spread throughout the world for the poor and the homeless and so forth. A wonderful man. Now, the Shroud of Turin is on display from the 5th of April next
Easter
year.
Sunday, and that's resurrection.
Easter Sunday.
That's
Now,
the
Easter's not
anniversary
same
of the
every year,
resurrection.
by the way. It varies quite a bit, by 3 weeks in fact. So out of every 12 lunations that should line up with Easter, it doesn't. Right? Only one will.
Yes, last year it was
not.
not.
Of the same date of the resurrection and the same date of my conception in 1943, and now the same date when they're starting the display of the Shroud of Turin. Am I talking too much?
No, you're doing fine.
And on the 16th of August, when it ends, we go back in time 888 days to the day that Pope Benedict and I started communicating. 888 is Jesus in Greek. My brother, 8.88 years older than I am. Illegitimate, by the way. And he's my half-brother. And on it goes. So, if you want to throw some 888s around, I've got lots.
Sunrise to moonrise on your birthday.
Yeah.
Birthdays of your daughters.
8 minutes. Tracy, born in Port Alberni, 888 minutes.
Conceived when
Conceived
Jupiter
on
was
the
overhead.
29th of July, 67. Jupiter overhead for 888 minutes. It's 88,800 miles wide.
These are the signs in the heavens.
It's the Gematria for Matthew 1:23, the Emmanuel prophecy.
Which is the age you were when Tracy was born.
And the age I was 8880. So we'll just leave it there. And you've got something you want to say about the Pope? I've said to the Pope himself, you are still Pope.
You cannot retire.
You cannot retire. Doesn't matter what you say, what you do, I won't accept it. You are the Pope. Prophecy, Revelation
17:11. Can you bring that up? You read the Pope Benedict is the king priest of Revelation 17:11. And as a matter of fact, there was a document that Joel was with me and Karen. We went to the post office. It was a Friday afternoon. This is before we began communicating, so it was the 8th of March 2013, and I sent a package to Pope Benedict addressed to him as Joe Ratzinger at Castel Gandolfo, and he didn't get it. However, the timestamp on the post office receipt was 1711. The post office had actually closed, but they stayed, they went through with the transaction. It was post-stamp 1711, and we took it down to the depot, but it did not reach him. It was
1711 reads, and this is a future prophecy, by the way. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. So the beast goes to perdition. Pope Ratzinger comes back again. He is the 8th Pope. He was also the 7th.
Yeah. Now the beast is the institution. It's not the man, it's the institution.
The head of the beast was wounded to death but did live.
That's under Francis now. Benedict.
Francis is not a pope.
Benedict
He's not even a priest.
decapitated the beast once he announced the Christ
not a
with his
priest
apostolic. No. Under Vatican II, no, they're not priests. All right, so what's it all about? So this is something, I think, Anna, you posted this to the Pope Benedict fan club. I picked it up this morning. It's dated Saturday, the October the 25th, 2014, and it's written by Father Paul Kramer. The title of it is that Pope Benedict did not resign the papal office, but only renounced the active ministry of the office. There's a photograph of Benedict with his brother George, and they're reading the Bible. Okay. In order to understand the precise scope and extent of Benedict XVI, in quotation marks, renunciation, not resignation or abdication, one must focus on his words, which explain exactly what he renounced. Then it has, I won't read, it is in Latin, because he prepared the entire document in Latin, which is the language of the Church.
Which I told him to keep in the
Vatican III for the celebration of the Mass.
You must maintain tradition.
The tradition
Can't
of
change anything.
Yeah. So this is what Father Kramer makes clear to us. In English it is, "Here, allow me to go back once again to the 19th of April 2005. So this is his vow when he became Pope. The real gravity of the decision was also due to the fact from that moment on, so he's talking about April the 19th, 2005, I was engaged always and forever by the Lord. Always. Anyone who accepts the Petrine ministry no longer has any privacy. He belongs always and completely to everyone, to the whole Church. In a manner of speaking, the private dimension of his life is completely eliminated. The always is also a forever. There can no longer be a return to the private sphere. My decision to resign the active exercise of the ministry does not revoke this." Then Father Kramer goes on, "Here, Benedict XVI states explicitly that the gravity his decision to accept the papacy consisted in the fact that he was thereby engaged in a commitment received from Christ, which is for always, and his decision to resign the active exercise of the ministry does not revoke this. Thus, Benedict did not renounce the Petrine office or its ministry, but only the active exercise of the ministry." He then goes on to say that he will no longer wield the power of office, but will remain within the enclosure of St. Peter. Then the document continues with the Latin, in brackets, translating the Latin, quote, "I no longer bear the power of office for the governance of the Church, but in the service of prayer I remain, so to speak, in the enclosure of St. Peter. St. Benedict, whose name I bear as Pope, will be a great example for me in this. He showed us the way for a life which, whether active or passive, is completely given over to the work of God." Unquote. Hence, the intention expressed by Pope Benedict is to remain in the Petrine office and retain the passive aspect of its official service, which is the Latin word munus, spelled M-U-N-U-S, or munus. That is the service of prayer, and to hand over the active aspect of the munus, that is, exercise of governance, to a successor who will effectively fulfill the function of a coadjutor with power of jurisdiction, Thus, Benedict's clearly expressed intention was not to abdicate the office, but only to vacate the cathedra in the qualified sense of handing the seat of power of governance to one who will succeed him in the active governance, but not abdicating from the office itself. This solves the apparent mystery and explains why Benedict XVI refused to revert to being Cardinal Ratzinger, and why he retains his papal coat of arms and papal attire. In his declaration of February 11th, 2013, Pope Benedict states as the reason for his decision his waning energy and consequent inability to administer the official duties of the papacy due to advanced age. However, he states his awareness of the spiritual nature of the official service, the munus of the Petrine office. Namely, it is not merely active and verbal, but is to be fulfilled to no lesser degree by praying and suffering. It is this passive function of the office that he expressly stated was his intention to retain in his above cited discourse of the 27th of February 2013. It was only the active service, the execution of the ministry regarding grave affairs of the Church and proclaiming the gospel, which he said he could no longer adequately perform. Then it again quotes the Latin paragraph where he explains, therefore, in the next sentence, he declares his intention to renounce that ministry. This is the active ministry. One notices the correct Latin in this Vatican website version of the Declaratio. In the official document, the word commissum was used and not commisso, as you can see in the sentence. This is one of two glaring grammatical errors in the document that, according to the canonical custom, which remains in force, renders the juridical act null and void. Juridical, not shield. Juridical. No, perhaps it should read juridical, but it's a typo. The 1983 Code of Canon Law states explicitly that where there is no statute or custom ruling on some matter in the code, the jurisprudence of the Roman Curia is to be followed. The precedents go back to Pope St. Gregory VII, as I have explained in previous posts. However, leaving aside the question of the Latin errors, the far more weighty consideration of the Pope's intention not to abdicate the munus, but only to renounce the active ministry, is decisive in determining the nullity of the act. It is patent that a pope who intends to renounce the active exercise of the Petrine ministry, but who expresses his intention to retain the passive service of the munus which he received on the 19th of April 2005, does not vacate the office. Hence, the intention to render the chair vacant is defective, since one who retains the passive exercise of the munus retains the munus, and therefore still occupies the chair.
Which is what I told him.
Yes, exactly. So it was all settled before he left for Castel Gandolfo, which was the last day of February. He's still the Pope, which is what the Christ has been telling them. You are still the Pope. And he owns the Shroud of Turin.
If you have another Pope that comes as a false Pope, the Antichrist, you can sack him.
Completely.
Right?
Mm.
That's the whole idea. That he can sack anybody in the church. Sack the bastard. What's wrong with you? Bloody hell, I'm going to do anything for you?
Saints.
Start leaving. I'll send him a nasty letter and a telephone call too.
Sack Francis.
Sack the bastard.
Start going to work, leaving comments and calling for Benedict to sack. The Christ says for Benedict, who is still the Pope, to sack Francis. Hello? All over the planet. Alright, so that's...
What's wrong with you Catholic bastards out there?
They can't handle the real you, babe.
Fuck what they like.
Now, what I thought I would read, because once again, Andrea posted this to the official Benedict fan club page. She's doing a great job looking after that. This is the one that Gabriel started, who is still ministering it when he comes online. I will read the blatant... Here it is. This is something that Anna posted a couple of weeks ago to that page. I wrote it with the authority of Yahweh Brian, then go lightly Marshall. So now, Pope Benedict owns the Shroud of Turin. Personally, to him personally, is a religious relic, not an icon, a religious relic that he has always loved and revered and would pray before. This is what compelled him to announce to the world Salvator Mundi in Brian Leonard, Go Lightly Marshall. You can read of his response as he wrote how on that Monday, as he was walking, he had studied and held within his hands for 3 days the photograph sent to him of Brian Leonard, Go Lightly Marshall against the Shroud of Turin. And as he's out walking, considering and pondering everything, because suddenly his world has been turned upside down and his faith is being exercised, it's coming to fruition, when he explains in the apostolic letter, he was filled. It was a physical filling of his body with the love and compassion of God. So this was a physical lightning bolt that hit him, and he went back to his papal office within Castel Gandolfo, and it is then that Father Giuseppe Civello, because Benedict wanted to place that photograph in a place of honour, it was Father Giuseppe who uploaded it to become the cover page to the Facebook page that Father Giuseppe himself opened for Benedict in November of 2012 in anticipation of his resigning the active office. It was a tribute page for Pope Benedict. It was there that it was uploaded as the cover photo with the simple words of Benedict, Salvator Mundi, Brian Leonard, Go Lightly Marshall. Finally, I have met him through the email with the sincerest of thanks to Andrea Anna, Mrs. Andrea Anna, who made it possible for him to meet the Christ, the fulfillment of his faith. So it's appropriate that Anna has uploaded this and has been monitoring the Facebook page as the official fan page for Pope Benedict XVI, who has announced the Christ. I wrote it, but this is the Shroud of Turin, my burial cloth, a miracle. The blatantly obvious for the, quote, pure in heart shall see God, unquote. These are the words he spoke as Jesus. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. The evidence I left for this day, when the world gone mad, devoured by religion and delusion, so much so that very, very, very few recognize me. I am an Essene, not a Jew. I am the king of Judah through Scotland, a tribe of people, not a lump of dirt in Palestine that belongs to the people of Palestine. I am the key of David, which is the 3168 Lord Jesus in Greek Gematria. I am the 888, the Alpha and the Omega. Measuring my temple, the earth, is the book that only I can read. And revealing all things using my logic, intelligence, and love is not good enough for the deluded. The deluded want me to walk through that wall, then I will believe. This out of the mouth of a Christian Nigerian doctor. I did. It's called a door. This in January 2014. The same doctor seeing me for having suffered 11 heart attacks on October the 11th, 2013 in Egypt. Poisoned to stop me, and yet I still climbed the ascending passage, then the grand gallery, then the antechamber into the king's chamber, to lie in the king's coffer of the Great Pyramid, my altar to myself of Isaiah 19, verses 19 and 20. Just like the road to Calgary, carrying my cross in 33 AD for the world gone mad, the pain and agony of that day playing out in this day now, when the world, worse than 33 AD, rejects. The stone the builders rejected has become the head of the pyramid, not corner, as the book you are all trapped in would have you believe. The coffer and the pyramid is made to my measure, for I, in my glory, my flesh body, is the measure of my altar. And the world of the dead does not believe, having been trapped in the pages of a book, manipulated by evil men, cracked in unawares to carry away the minds of men from the earth, where the battle is raging, to the skies, where the deluded believe their help will come from. All the while they have rejected their only salvation in this time of my judgment. All that offends me is cast out of my kingdom, which has come to the earth since I am here. I am not in the clouds of the sky. The same doctor, astonished that I can even walk across the room. The damage to my heart so bad the left side is dead, yet I can and do work out in the gym each morning. A miracle staring him in the face. The left side of the heart dead. A reminder of the cross where the spear went in, piercing my heart, and it continues today. The sign in the heavens occurred a second time in history the night I was reborn to the earth. The Star of Bethlehem, a conjunction of Jupiter and Venus. I returned like a thief in the night. of January the 11th, 1944 at 2:22 a.m., the day and the hour that I, the Father, this time have been declaring to the deluded for decades. I came for my own who recognize me, the few. Pope Benedict XVI is Peter, back to announce me again, thou art the Christ, in his infamous apostolic letter, In Christum Credunt, then cut off from all the world by the Antichrist Francis for doing so. Benedict's two witnesses to the second coming that played out in his papal office March 2013, kidnapped and also cut off from telling the world, I am here. One reported shot 8 times by men hired by Francis, the other taken to Malta. She managed to get a letter out in October 2013, telling of the events of the night of arrest of Pope Benedict and themselves by the Antichrist Francis for announcing me. To all who reject, I am no respecter of persons, whether great or small, bond or free. You have no salvation. Everything I did as Jesus was a prophecy of today. How many times as Jesus did I say, in that day? We are in that day now. The Jews who crucified me, the Christians and Muslims, you have been led astray along a broad road to destruction, believing the lies of the same Pharisee priests, controlling the temple, back, all of them too, back on the earth for my judgment, while I have been alerting the world for decades, doing what I did as Jesus, healing the sick, speaking the truth, and revealing this time 10,000 miracles hidden within my creation. And yet you still look to the skies for a phantom ghost riding a white horse, coming on the clouds. Too indoctrinated by demons preaching in your churches, synagogues and mosques to accept the teachings I have been sharing that lift the veil from the understanding of the humble in spirit and the pure in heart. Unless you repent and become like a small child, which means to lay down all of your knowledge and supposed wisdom, you will in no way enter nor see my kingdom, not now, not ever. We are in the end time of the soul reincarnating. The soul has been given up to 7 times, like silver in a furnace, to get it right. If you have not made it by now, your soul will not continue to exist. Fear him who can kill both body and soul in hell. You are in hell, made that way by allowing the forces of evil to delude you into worshipping the image of the beast, the airy-fairy image built up in your mind of Jesus. For I am not as you imagine I am. The only way out in the very few days before the end is to know my name, Brian Leonard Golightly Marshall, the new name of the Revelation 3:12, and the name written that only I would know of the Revelation 19:12, the Word of God, verse 13. And then this ends with a warning. You have been warned. Sunday, September 21st, 2014, 9:27 a.m.
Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name, and in the name have cast out devils, and in the name done many wonderful works? And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. That's the one of 7. Rejoice ye in that day, and leap for joy, for behold, your reward is great in heaven. For in the like manner did their fathers unto the prophets. But woe unto you that are rich, for ye have received your consolation. Woe unto you that are full, for ye shall hunger. Woe unto you that laugh now, for ye shall mourn and weep. Woe unto you when all men shall speak well of you, for so did their fathers to the false prophets. But I say unto you that it shall be more tolerable in the day for Sodom than for that city.
Talking about Jerusalem, aren't we? Now.
Yeah. And on it goes, there's more. But I think you get the picture.
Now, for all of the followers of Paul, adherents to the teachings of Paul, Paul was a devil. The Apostle Paul was self-appointed. He turned up on the scene, and as Jesus, he warned us that one would come after me who would be a devil, and he would teach things that I did not teach and pervert the things that I did teach. That's Paul. The gospel of grace is a hoax. You're all on about exposing hoaxes. Well, the gospel of grace is a hoax. It's all about works. That's why over in the Revelation, it opens the book. If your name's not written in the book of life, it's all about the works being consumed by the fire. So for all of those who, I'm saved by grace and I don't have to do anything because Jesus did it for me, well, you've been trapped. You've been ensnared by the devil in the self-appointed apostle Paul. Just like the Jews, they're all self-appointed, God's chosen, and it's a hoax. It's one of their 5 biggest lies and falsehoods. You can read about it in the Harold Wallace Rosenthal interview in 1976. The 5 great falsehoods that the Jews, who call themselves Jews and are not, but are of the synagogue of Satan, as referred to in the Revelation, how they have foisted these lies upon Christians who actually believe them. Well, hello. So the crisis here has been alerting the world now for 2 decades, since he could get onto the internet and get his writings out there and his measuring of his temple, where the evidence is of who he is. It's all in the numbers, the book within the book. The concordance, James Strong's 1830 concordance is the book within the book, and the earth opens up to reveal its measure, numbers that swallows the words from the mouth of the dragon, the beast. It's the words that are polluting everything. Would you not expect God to have encoded so that man, and certainly Lucifer, which uses man, cannot get away with the trap he has set you for?
How many apostles were there?
12. There were only 12. That's it. We're not 13. So Judas goes, so that left 11. Oh, well, there was the one drawn by Lot that replaced the 12, but that was it. So you've got the self-appointed comes. He was not a member of the inner circle of Jesus. He didn't know him.
He was not an Essene.
He was not an Essene. He was an infiltrator.
And he came along 15 years after the cross.
That's it. So it's
you
all
don't
about,
have to do nothing to be saved, according to him.
It's all about the infiltration. He craps on about grace, and he was responsible for the murder, the crucifixion upside down of the true head apostle in Peter in Rome. And so we have the Church of Rome already infiltrated by Paul the devil, growing up on the foundation of Paul's teaching, the broad road to destruction. Narrow is the way to life. That's why he said, as an Essene, I am the way, the truth, and the life. What does that mean? It's all very active. Doing what I do. You see me? Do what I did. Do what I do. Stand up for the truth. Speak the truth. Slam the enemy.
So here we are in New Guinea curing AIDS and malaria and all these things we do. And the Pope sees a video on that.
Yes, because I sent it to them. This is what Jesus would do. He's right. This is what Jesus would do. All good. So, let's move right along. You can talk now, babe. I'm about to...
I've got nothing to say.
You haven't?
No.
Oh, well, I've got 20 minutes to. 15 if you want to leave time for
There's
it.
something else you was going to do, you told me.
Oh, I meant to do this at the beginning of the show. All things pathetically prophetic.
When you stop it, splice it, put it on.
No, it's all right. It's all good because it's all about Benedict, the German. All right. Just to give you a little
The men
background.
of Nineveh,
Oh, yes,
Germans
of course.
today,
The men of Nineveh will rise up in this
and
generation
did so in when? 1882, September the 11th.
and condemn this evil
September
generation.
the 11th.
Yeah,
You know what September the 11th is? Conception
as
of
Jesus.
myself within Mary in 3 BC.
So the men of Nineveh will rise up and condemn this
What
evil
happened on that
generation.
date in 1882?
They held the conference in Dresden, Christian men of the world, to condemn and work out a manifesto condemning Judaism, which is the snake that engulfs the whole earth. It's not Zionism, it's always been Judaism. Judaism is communism, it is Marxism, it is Zionism, and it's the hyena, not the elephant. Elephants are too nice. It's the hyena in the room that everybody is overlooking as they're calling all the isms, everything else under the sun, but what it
is
is.
a hermaphrodite.
Yes.
The female has a penis.
Yeah, take a look at the hyena on stage in Obama and his husband, its husband, Michelle. Speaking of which, there was that photograph that somebody put together that I shared yesterday. It was a good one. He's dressed up as her and she's dressed up as him. I told you she's got bigger muscles than he.
She has,
Yeah. Anyway, moving right along. Tuesday here in Australia, the 4th of November, every year, the nation stops for a horse race.
Event.
Yes. The nation stops for a horse race at 3 o'clock, Melbourne time. Race number 7 at Flemington, and it's called the Melbourne Cup. Well, this year, the horse that won the Melbourne Cup was a German horse. Hello, called Protectionist. So all things pathetically prophetic, and the number of the horse was number 5, which is Abba, or father in Greek, A-B-B-A. Remember, it's all about the numbers. So here we have the father and a German horse. We're thinking about Benedict here, who has already won the race for God on the earth, who is the Father, in his announcement, recognising and announcing, "Thou art the Christ," once again.
You probably won't like me when you meet me. You're going to say, "You're an asshole."
And you will agree with him. Absolutely, I'm the judge. No more Mr. Nice Guy. Forgiveness ended at your rebirth, right?
Right.
We're in the period of the resurrection. Everybody born after is born into the period of time. That's why he said, as Jesus, before he rose Lazarus from the dead, he was talking to me, Martha. As I'm saying, well, I know that he'll rise again in the resurrection. And you respond, well, I am the resurrection. I am the life. So he spoke to Lazarus at that time and raised him 4 days dead. And I'm saying, well, he's going to stink, Lord, which is a typical Martha kind of. But anyway, it was all to demonstrate the power of God at that time. And Lazarus did rise from the dead and he had a glimpse of hell. Hello, today. So here we are now in the period of time called the resurrection, where all souls are gathered upon the earth for the judgment. Every soul has lived a life before upon the earth. The judgment has already occurred. Now we are living out the executing of the sentence of the judgment. This is why there is much death occurring upon the earth, if you like. As Jesus, he said, I'm the resurrection and the life. So he is reborn to the earth. Everybody reborn back to the earth after him is in the period of time, the resurrection. And you're raised either to life or to death based upon the judgment that's already occurred on your past life. So you either got it and made it, and you're back here, and you will recognize these teachings. You will see God, the pure in heart see God. He's the image of the Shroud of Turin, and that's Brian Leonard Golightly Marshall. And you will hear the words that he speaks, and you will have understanding. You see, truth resonates at the highest frequency within all of us. Those who have discernment and recognize the truth, carries the highest frequency. So Benedict announces thou art the Christ. He has won, the German shepherd, if you like, the German shepherd has won the battle for all eternity by announcing thou art the Christ. It's playing out now. It's all about the Father, the number 5. What is sad in race number 7, and number 7 is the number of perfection, the sacred number of perfection.
Well, we're dealing with a criminal organisation.
Yes.
It's a bit like the Jews has taken over the world with their criminal organisation, because they are all into this big betting on huge amounts of money.
Yeah.
And all of Australia stops to watch it.
Yes.
And what happened? The Japanese horse that was favoured to win.
The Japanese horse that won the Caulfield Cup the week before.
He ran hundreds of metres behind the end, and he went back to his stall.
On the way back to his stall, he dropped dead.
No. He went back to his stall, and then he died in the stall.
I thought it was on the way.
No. The other horse that was on the way back, someone waved a flag in his face, and it jumped up in the air, and his foot come down in between a steel rail and broke its leg, and they had to destroy it. Broke its pastern.
They had to destroy it. So 2 horses die. The German wins. And what is also pathetically prophetic is that Germany won over Argentina the World Cup soccer this year.
Was it Brazil, wasn't it?
No, it was Argentina. Hello, Germany versus Argentina.
Interest in it.
Argentina. So we've got Francis. We've got Benedict versus Francis.
Yeah, right.
All things pathetically prophetic. Now, before I left Canada, being there in the United States and Canada for 14 years, sent back to Australia by my angels who told me it's time to go back. What was interesting, 2004, was that before I arrived back here, the Miss Universe was Jennifer Hawkins, the Australian. She won the Miss Universe. And again, all things pathetically prophetic. I knew it was a sign. Australia wins Miss Universe. So I've got to go back. Hello?
Oh, dear.
So you miss these things. I don't. It's the signs. Every time.
Too busy looking at her, right?
Oh, she's lovely Sheila. Anyway, that's what it's all about. But you in 1996, you told the authorities in Canada the battle for the world is from Australia.
That's right.
The seat of the Antichrist, however, the battle for the universe has to be fought from Australia.
There's only, less than 30 million people here. And Tasmania, which is very high unemployment, the export of raw materials out of Tasmania, that's the little island off the south coast, small population, is $5 million per head. So I suggested to the government, why not take, say, 2% of that 5 million and give it to your people and they'll be living in paradise? Oh no. So then we've got Australia's got the largest iron ore deposit in the world. It's got the largest coal deposit in the world. It's got the largest aluminium, or aluminum as they say in America, deposit in the world. It's got the largest oil deposit in the world, so large in fact where we were at Cooper Pedy that they've kept a lid on it. They don't want no one to know. It's the largest oil deposit. There's more oil there than all of the oil in the world. That's how rich Australia is. And people here are living on the street.
Yeah. Now
that's going to change worldwide, because when I come into power, which ain't going to be too far away, I will own everything. In my Vatican III, which I gave to the Pope, I said all corporations in the world will be owned by Christ. 51%.
That was the economic plan.
That's the economic plan.
Now, I just looked up the Australian population. Get a load of this. the Australian population as of 2013 was 23.13 million. All right, 2313 in Hebrew is of foreign origin, which all Aussies are, Europeans. But in Greek it means to resist deity, fight against God. Hello!
Is that not the case?
Is that not the case? Totally.
Gee.
The whole world fighting against
Australians are unusual people. They're intelligent but stupid at the same time. That's if the newspaper says it, they believe it. Yet they'll go and invent some of the greatest inventions of all time that comes out of the world, which I belonged to the Inventors Association many years ago. The year I was in it, in the world, there's a gathering of inventors, great inventions that make it into the 100 top inventions in Europe, and I forget where it was exactly. Australia won 20 of them. They won the best invention and also 19 others of the 100 best inventions of the world. That's Australians.
Yes.
Right? Yet these people are so stupid that it defies imagination. So how can you be so clever and inventive yet so stupid at the same time? But they are.
Silence is golden.
Silence is golden.
Golden.
Now, he was going to do something else, wasn't it?
Not really.
He was going to read from the Colburn.
Oh, the Colburn. Oh, it's a little...
Read the Apostolic Letter.
All right, let's do that. It's been a while, Crocodile. It's interesting that the view count has been released again on the Apostolic Letter. It's,
Well, tell the people who might be listening, the one person that might have just tuned in.
The view count is back to 6239.
Well, they keep everything we do.
It's minus 10,000. It should be 16239.
Yeah, they keep on altering the numbers in some sort of macabre way. They think that altering the numbers is going to make a difference to a person who's reading. Like, if I see something on YouTube, I could care less how many views it's had.
Yes.
What does it say?
Yes,
That's
the
all
truth.
I'm interested in.
It's all about the truth.
We had there were 3 videos I put up some time ago, and the first viewing of, like in 3 parts, right?
This
the
was
first part was 30 or 40 views. The third part was about 30 or 40 views. And the second part was 26,000 odd.
Yes.
So in other words, they forgot to do
the
second
censoring
and reduce the numbers down.
Yeah, that was 2010 we were told about that. Kasia told us.
Yeah.
Oh, she said, I found this 3-part video and you wouldn't believe what the view counts were. 26,000 in part number 2 because they forgot to, wind back the clock. All right.
What's it going to be like in the future when I take over?
Oh,
no pornography.
No
cigarettes.
No. Yes.
No
alcohol.
Right. No vaccinations.
No vaccinations.
Right. Everybody will have a welfare if they need it.
Yes.
All employment will be done through the churches.
Yes.
All health regimes will be done through the churches.
Yes. You can work as much as you want to, or not at all if you don't want to. You will have...
Well, every new married couple will have a house free.
Yes. Just think of...
More children to have, the
just think of Germany.
You get rewarded for having children.
Yes. Just think of Germany under Hitler, his economic plan, and also...
We will certainly introduce Hitler's economic plan, because it was brilliant.
Yes.
I mean, the man was a standalone genius.
Yes. Tuned in to the ether of the
mind of God. He was so nice.
God.
Too nice.
Too nice. Didn't do the job. All right, so I'll read the Apostolic Letter.
Like me in charge.
The rod of iron.
Like, step out of the line, that's it, into the chipper.
Speaking of which, we watched one the other day, didn't we? Consuming that beast consuming the refrigerator and then the couch.
Well, I tell you, my first job as a child, my uncle worked for Guerin O'Regan's. It was on O'Regan Street, and I happened to live on O'Regan Street, so it was a walk down the road. But it was Uncle Arthur Marshall.
Yes.
And my first job was to get on the offside or on a truck and we'd drive up into all the different areas up to the Blue Mountains, collecting the meats and bones and so forth that the butchers at that time would put into baskets at the back of their shops, and they'll call with maggots by the time we got to it.
Yes.
And we'd carry it out there. But because I was a big, strong kid, the side of the truck was 8 foot high. We had to fill it with all this meat. So we were stopping at every little suburb along the way. And we'd carry out, some of these baskets would be 300 pounds of meat just piled up in big, huge baskets. Right? So me and this other guy, a big, sturdy fella, had been doing it for a long time, we'd lift it up and then push it up 8 foot high and then tip it into the, right, with all this. Now, when it goes back to Kieran O'Regan's, they drop it into these vats. And then there'll be things like cows' heads and bits of horses and legs and hooves and everything like that, skeletons. Right? Plus all this intestinal stuff and you name it, right? And it would go into this grinder and be gone, right? Anyhow, there's a big vat there, right? And you go up about, just below your boots, right? And there's this guy wading around it one day. And I said, "What are you doing, Charlie?" He said, "I'm looking for my coat." I said, "You're kidding, aren't you?" He said, "Yeah, I dropped my coat in it." I said, "What?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "You're not going to wear it after that?" He said, "No, I had my lunch in the pocket."
Oh, yeah. Is that a Jesus joke?
Of course it is. The first bit is. The first bit is what I did.
Yes, right.
And all the money I earned, I bought presents for my newborn niece.
Yes.
I'll tell you a funny story about that, how coincidence and she never did like me for some reason, although I doted on her. My sister-in-law's brother Ross, lovely, lovely fellow. I've known him since I was 10 years of age. He's a, what they say in Australia, bonzer bloke. Anyhow, I got working as an electrician's apprentice. And on this job was a guy called Dennis. And this guy would take my tools and steal them, carve his initials into it, right? And he had a big fella that was a friend of his that was the boss's son. And I told the boss's son, this is a guy who was 3 or 4 years older than me, and it worked out, big fella. I said, "If you don't stop this kid stealing my tools, I'm going to knock him out." Right? He said, "You touch him, I'm going to have you." And I said, you can try it. Right? So anyhow, this guy, he was all over me. He said, "Oh, yeah, I'm bloody this and that," and he wakes up at the gym. So there was a brick, right? And I said, "Well, pick the brick up." There was 2 bricks actually. I said, "You pick your brick up and I'll pick my brick up, and you hold it at arm's length like that." Right? And I'll hold one out at arm's length as well. We'll see who can do it the longest. Well, after about a minute, his arm's starting to fail, right? And I'm just still like a statue, right? And finally he dropped it. And I said, "Now, that's all I can do with you. I don't stand in the way." So eventually I got through a lunch hour and I took all the tools that he had stolen in the toolbox, all mine, right? And I buried him in the sand. Next thing, the cops show up because he's gone to the cops looking for his tools.
Yes.
Right? So that's better than punch his lights out. I'll take the tools back.
Right.
Which I did. So I went there at night and then dug them up and took them away, right? So now, sometime later, I'm at Ron's place with a baby, newborn baby. And who should walk in the door but the same arsehole who was the best friend of Ross, Ron's brother-in-law. What a small... And his name was Normie. Right? Normie Dennis or Dennis Normie, one of the other. Anyhow, as the baby grew older, this Normie was the ant's pants. The sun shined out his ass, right? I thought, how ironic. There's my own first niece who I loved like my own child, right? And she didn't have a bar of me. We had this arsehole that was a thief and a liar, stole my tools. The same guy just happens to be the good friend of Ross. No one knew what he was really like.
Yes.
Right? And she thought the sun shined out his ass.
Yeah.
That's my life. Always like that. It's amazing, huh? I got 100 stories on that. Which is the kind of things I've told the Pope. He thought it was very humorous.
Anyway, we're out of time.
Hasta la vista, but we're going to play anything as we go.
Well, we've got Yah in the shower. I've got that ready to go.
Yah in the shower? Tell people that.
Well, it's like, I like hearing it's like raindrops falling on my head.
But you did have your eyes closed when you was doing it.
totally. I snuck the computer up there with the microphone attached to record him in Audacity program, and so that's what we listen to. All right, we'll say later. Gate is back with show. Oh, tomorrow is Friday the 7th, and we are on Donnie's show. It'll be the 6th at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time in the USA when he calls us through Skype.
What's your show called? Second 2 Degrees of Insanity?
No, it's not that anymore. It's something different, but it's FM radio throughout Greater Los Angeles.
Tell bloody people, aren't you?
Well, they know more than we do.
What about a new person who might be listening?
Well, somebody help me out. Somebody tell me what Donnie's radio show is called. It's K Beach Studios in California. K Beach Radio. And
why don't you just type it into your search engine right now and see if you can find it?
Well, no, actually have to go over to Donnie's Facebook page and find out what the name of his show is, because it's one thing to know that...
Put in Donnie Gilson, radio,
I'm sure...
California, FM,
Donnie
Gilson.
No.
You got to remember, most people are too stupid to do it themselves, right?
No, look, they can tell me. They're all out there. They can tell me.
There's only half a dozen of them.
Will somebody please? This is a plea. Somebody let me know what the name of Donnie's
You got to do it now.
radio. I am. I'm doing it. But Don Adams. Lives in Long Beach. K Beach Radio.
K
Beach Radio. Oh, here we go. Let's see what. 8.1 FM. Tonight. Oh, this was. It's just called K Beach. Tune in this evening. That's it. Don Adams. Tonight, the radio show. This is October the 31st.
Well,
I'll be giving away 2 pairs. Anyway, you guys will find out more.
The point is that we might not get on there because, you know...
Well, he's going to call us through Skype, so let's see. K Beach Radio. Don Adams. All right, okay, later, Gators.
You're going to play?
Yeah, I am. All right, muting Mike. Be back tomorrow.
Dark is over down the Mississippi, dark is over while the white folk play. Down the Mississippi, dark is over while the white folk play. Golden and dark from the dawn to sunset, getting no rest till the judgment day. Old Man River, that old man River, he don't know nothing, he just keeps on